What's good, gamers? Aquilon here, and of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. In today's video, we are doing an analysis. I'm going to be analyzing only the cinematic of Iridikron and Vyranoth. While a lot of the other cinematics from yesterday, for those of us in Europe, or the day before for those of you in the NA region, Cryface, was good, and some of them was really awesome, like in terms of the moment, capturing the moment, or just ending a massive storyline, like for example in Rathian and Sibelian and their conversation. None of them really have anything that we can analyze. There's obviously things that happened, but the things that happened is pretty obvious. Like, I could sit here and go, so Gain is just made Tess the leader of the Worgen and Gilneas, and all of you would be like, yeah, we saw that, right? There's nothing to analyze there. It is what it is. There's obviously some speculation videos that can come from there, but in terms of analysis, not much. I think the Iridikron Vyranoth Polay cinematic is an interesting one because obviously it sort of culminates or is the conclusion to a story that we've been party to now for about 2 years. And also, a lot of it influences where we are going to go in the future. Now, before we get into the analysis of the cinematic, I do want to mention something that has happened also in patch 925 that is related to the cinematic, at least tangentially. Khadgar, at the feast, where you basically have to serve a bunch of people and then catch a bunch of brigands. Very awkward quest, especially since you're the champion. You're the one that saved everyone. Just moments before you were named the champion of the Dragonflight Isles, or the Dragonflight. And then suddenly you're waiting tables. That was a weird moment. But you're sent to go give Khadgar a drink. And Khadgar tells you that his agents in the field have noticed an ancient enemy stirring. And that certain entities are making moves, and that very soon we will be called upon to once again save Azeroth. You know, so really cool there, just a little bit of foreshadowing. But of course, a lot of that foreshadowing does play into the cinematic of Iridikron and Vyranoth. So that is what we're going to be looking at right now.
I had received
I want to make note of this because it's a small thing and it's a thing that really doesn't even matter, but it is nice. The scale ratio that they used here by having Vyranoth fly over this landscape. First, it makes for a very nice intro, but there's also an immediate sort of, whoa, she is huge. Like, look at the world and then look at her. Very clear that Blizzard wants to show you this isn't an ordinary dragon. This is not your run-of-the-mill proto-dragon just flying about. This is an aspect. It's the aspect of storms. And she is clearly huge. I don't exactly know about the aspect of storms thing, because isn't that Razagath? Why is Vyranoth now the aspect of... I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird choice, but hey.
From Iridikron. He wished to speak with me. And me alone. I am here.
I love the attention to detail, but I also love the fact that we're hearing the thunder crack. Again, that homage to this is the aspect of storms. She, obviously, being out in the field, being out in the world, is having an effect on the world around her. And most likely, what I took from this is she's anxious. Remember, she doesn't know how this meeting is going to go. She isn't afraid of Iridikron, but there is obviously an anxiety there, as there would be before any moment that you aren't entirely sure how this is going to play out. And to hear the thunder, to hear the crackling of the elements reacting to her anxiety is a really cool moment.
It seems your courage has not faltered, despite abandoning our war.
That war is over, Iridikron!
All right, so this is one of my big problems with this cinematic. That war is over. Well, let's just talk about what is the War of the Incarnates. The War of the Incarnates, very specifically, is a war against the Titans and the Titan influence on Azeroth. Vyranoth claiming that that war is now over suggests that the Titans have been dealt with, that the Titan influence have been washed away. Now, originally, when I heard her say this, I was a little triggered. It was a little bit like, what are you talking about? I don't agree that this war is over. The Titans are still around. But from Vyranoth's perspective, I think I may understand what she saw. Remember, the aspects got blessed, not by the Titans this time around, but by Azeroth herself. This is a blessing from the very world that the Incarnates too wanted to protect. Remember, the Incarnates never dreamt of destroying the world. That was Vyranoth after being completely mind-fucked by the Void, having this new idea of burning the entire world in living flame. Whereas that was never the goal for the Incarnates. The goal was very specifically to remove Titan influence, and it may be that Vyranoth believes that goal to have been complete. The aspects are no longer influenced by the Titans, and it may even be that she now believes with this new perspective of the aspects, they'll be able to see just how bad the Titans have been. There's no longer a need for a war because the aspects themselves can be persuaded to turn against the Titans. Just sort of spitballing here.
It was you who abandoned our cause, who abandoned Farak to his own.
She's not wrong. She isn't wrong. Iridikron, very specifically, from the beginning, we have said, clearly doesn't really care about the other Incarnates. He's so used to fighting this war on his own, and most likely for his own gains, that he was more than willing to sacrifice Farak on the altar of that war. Because fundamentally, and I do not question Iridikron, you'll see later in this cinematic, I do believe that Iridikron's goal is to destroy the Titans. I don't question that. I don't think Iridikron has ever changed his mind about that. I just think in Iridikron's view, this goal is so sacred and also so noble that anyone can be sacrificed on the altar of this goal, and that sacrifice would be worthwhile. Because ultimately, he is the one trying to save the world from the clutches of a very evil entity like the Titans, at least in his view.
Own destruction. All for some trinket Neltharion left behind.
Right, here we go.
The Darkheart is no mere trinket.
Alright, so I love this scene for a number of reasons. So firstly, obviously very epic. You see her in the background. You see the mountaintop break apart as Iridikron is in the mountain. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can look at this. You could say he disguised himself as a mountaintop. I actually think it's far more indicative of his power because he is the incarnate of Earth. He has the ability to move through and in the Earth as he sees fit. In other words, the entire Earth can be his disguise, but the entire Earth can also be his weapon because the Earth responds to him. And I think this moment seeks to show that. It seeks to show that while she may be the aspect of storms and while there may be thunder raging, he is in control of everything around her. All of the mountains, all of the stones, the earth itself, he is the master of those things.
Its power now lies in the Harbinger's hands.
All right, so we have to talk about this Darkheart. Before this patch launched, there were references to the Darkheart, and a lot of people were sort of arguing, "Oh, whoa, are we going to go back to the Darkheart thicket? What the hell is this?" The Darkheart obviously now finally has a name. This item, and it's the item that Iridikron used to siphon the essence out of Galakrond. This item, called the Darkheart, has been described to us as very similar to the Dragon Soul. Now, what is the Dragon Soul? The Dragon Soul was an artifact that Neltharion used to basically siphon a portion of power out of the aspects, and with that combined power, it kind of acts as a focusing iris. So you can use that object to focus that power at basically whatever it is you want to do. More often than not, it is used as a weapon, but it can probably also be used for other things. Now, I'm going to have an entire video where I dive into the Darkheart and what I actually think can be at play here and what this is probably going to be used for. So I'm not going to go into that right now because it would honestly take like 10 minutes for us to discuss everything to do with it. All you need to know right now is that the Harbinger is Xal'atath. We already know that. We know that Xal'atath is very active in the War Within, most likely going to be super active in Midnight, may actually even be active in The Last Titan, because I think fundamentally Blizzard is trying to set up new enemies. And I believe that Darkheart is going to be used as a, let's call it an empowerment. It is going to be used to empower something. Maybe some kind of void gate, maybe some kind of being, maybe to reopen the gate for the old god's return, although that might be just a little bit of an old adage, and maybe most people don't care about that. So we'll have to wait and see. But fundamentally, I believe it's going to be used to empower, not as a weapon. Very specifically, I think since the heart, the Dragon Soul, was used fundamentally as a weapon, it would be kind of boring if the Darkheart, its dark twin, effectively, is also then used as a weapon, when in reality it can be used for multiple things. But anyways, that's for another video. We'll get into that later.
The void cannot be trusted.
I trust its hunger.
This is an incredibly important line, and a line that I'm actually super excited by. Iridikron explicitly telling her, I don't trust the void. I'm not in the void's clutches. I'm not working with the void because I think they're better. I'm working with the void because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. They are the only entity that is strong enough to take on the Titans, and they are hungry enough to destroy the Titans. So I will use them for as long as I need to in order to get the Titans out of the way, and then we can turn against the void, and we can sort them out. But for now, the Titans need to come first. I think Iridikron is underestimating the void, and he is definitely underestimating their ability to see that level of deceit, because remember, the void sees all truths. The problem is they don't know which one is true, so more often than not, they prepare for all of them equally. So even the Nathrazim state how fucking hard it was to infiltrate the void because of this. You have to sort of operate in between their truths while simultaneously looking as if you are part of their truths. So very, very difficult to navigate the void. And Iridikron may actually find out that it is nigh impossible to navigate the void.
You know the Titans infected our world, and I will see them extinguished.
I love this. I love this. Personally, you guys know me. I have little love for the Titans. I do not trust the Titans. I believe that the only people that can trust the Titans are people that have not paid attention to the lore at all. And I'm talking about their own lore. So even if you want to harken back to things like the Chronicles, or you want to harken back to even earlier lore, there are so many question marks around what the Titans have done, what the Titans do, and what the Titans want. There are so many lies that the Titans have told throughout all of their interactions with us. But even just at the beginning of this expansion, they make it so clear that they are hiding things from us because they think we're too stupid to know and to understand. I personally don't believe that the Titans are good. I think anyone that thinks the Titans are good need to really go pay attention to the lore, because the Titans have never proved themselves to be good. They are a force like literally all of the other cosmological forces that have their own goals and their own means. And their goals and means do not include us if we go against them. If we are with them, if we pose no threat, they'll leave us alone. But as soon as our existence becomes problematic to their goal, they will very quickly turn on us and they will decide to kill us, because now we're an obstacle rather than a tool that they can use. So, yeah, I love the fact that he does reaffirm this. You know they infected our world, and I will not stop until I've destroyed all of them.
The question is, sister, will you?
I will have no part of this.
And here is where we get to a discussion we had yesterday during stream. For those of you that haven't already, join me over on twitch.tv/Accolon, where we talk about this shit all the time. But Iridikron doesn't ask her if she will join him for the war. He doesn't ask her if, she is still an incarnate or whatever. He asks her a very simple question. He says, I will stop at nothing at destroying them. The question is, will you? Yeah, that's what he's asking her. He's asking her if she still views the Titans as the infection that they are. He asks her if she will still destroy the Titans and their infection on Azeroth, and Vyranoth answers, I will have no part in this. I'm not entirely sure what to make of this. As I said at the beginning, there is this world in which Vyranoth could now argue she can destroy the Titans without going to war by simply reasoning with the aspects and showing them that the Titans are bad because the aspects are no longer under the Titan influence. That may be one of it. The other part of it is that now that she has been blessed. Now, remember, that blessing does come from Azeroth, but it also comes from a tree that's been infected by the Winter Queen and by Elune. So it's not entirely just from Azeroth. The blessing comes from 3 entities effectively having some manner of control. So she could now be under the control of, well, let's just call it the forces that be. So it may be that Vyranoth has changed entirely from who she used to be. I don't know. I would have loved to see a little bit more explanation for what it is that Vyranoth now believes and where Vyranoth thinks the story is going to go for her. But for now, all we can take away from this is that Vyranoth no longer wishes to fight the Titans, because that's literally what is asked, and her answer is, I will have no part in this.
Then the bond of the Incarnates is truly ended. You will not.
She almost looks surprised. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but there's that little, just her eyebrow that pops up as if that's a bit of a surprise for her to hear. That just over that, the bond of the Incarnates are broken, even though we know that the bond of the Incarnates are already broken. I would argue maybe more her surprise here is Iridikron's reaction. And this, by the way, is what makes Iridikron such a cool villain. He's not running around screaming and yelling and bashing his chest and, breaking things. He's very calm, very collected, actually almost an incredibly likable character. And yet he has this very dark goal that he wants to achieve. And it's very difficult to place. Is this goal a noble one? Or is this goal highly problematic and it's going to end in all of us dead? What exactly is the goal here? Very, very interesting villain that Blizzard created here.
You will not see me again until the Titans face their reckoning.
Very interesting moment here. You will not see me again until the Titans face their reckoning. Almost immediately gives us a timeline for when Iridikron will return. Most likely end midnight, beginning of the Last Titan. Because I believe the Last Titan is where we see the Titan story coming to a head. So, nice bit of foreshadowing there.
But to you, Vyranoth, I offer one final warning. Stay out of my way.
Very cool. Very cool final warning. Stay out of my way. Of course, we know that she's probably not going to stay out of his way, because that's just the way. It would be a very boring expansion if you know, the bad guy just did bad guy things and we stayed out of his way. So that's probably not going to happen. I'm very excited to see how this story unfolds and where exactly this, like, where the story for Iridikron is going. Because I genuinely believe Iridikron may be the greatest villain Blizzard have invented in the last 3 or 4 years, quite frankly. And what I love about the next saga is the other great villain that Blizzard have created has been Xal'atath. Xal'atath is a phenomenal villain. And now you have Xal'atath and Iridikron, both incredible villains, sort of playing behind the scenes and doing things and moving things forward and moving things around. It's going to be super interesting. We're probably going to see Sargeras coming back, and that's also a phenomenal villain from the old days. So there's a lot of moving parts here that I'm super excited for. But that concludes our analysis of this cinematic. There's not much more, I believe, that we can go into. A lot of the things that I could still talk about here would be speculation realm rather than just analysis stuff. And I would rather leave the speculation stuff for videos on their own, because there are a ton of things here that will almost definitely feature in future videos, because a lot has been revealed. A lot that needs to be thought about and needs to be discussed. But as far as analysis goes, I think I've done a great job of analyzing everything that there is to analyze in this cinematic. And there's a couple of very interesting things, obviously, that we've discovered throughout the analysis of the video. So, yeah, I want to thank you all for watching. If you're a patron, $1 a month keeps the channel free from sponsorship. So thank you so much for your support. It means the absolute world to me. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, be kind to each other, be good to each other, and I shall see all of you in the next one. Peace.